everyone. First things first, I want to say hello to my school English teacher. So if you will feel confused from my English pronunciation, just let me know. I will switch to Ukrainian. My name is Vitalii, and I am the audio engineer in the World of Tanks PC project. I have over 10 years of experience in sound design for games, esport broadcasts, and advertising. I hosted my own radio show about EDM on the Best Dance radio station in Ukraine. Audio vision and visual listening are two main elements we work on as game audio people. Today, we will talk about how to predictively build those connections without forgetting about creativity. What audio team include age specialists? We manage a large and complex project that has been running over 14 years. Currently, the project contains over 100,000 audio sources and more than 55,000 voice tracks. In our audio team, we work with famous celebrities. We create music that gets millions of plays on various platforms. But today, I want to talk about one specific feature. It's next generation maps. So, briefly about the next generation maps feature. In the World of Tanks, we have 40 maps, where 30 vehicles have fight. Players love and are very familiar with our maps, so why not give them more variety? To make battles more interesting and diverse, we added random events. This means that during battle, a zeppelin can fall on the map. This not only adds more visual effects, but also changes the gameplay. There will be more places to hit and new ways to maneuver. The goal of this feature is to increase map replayability, create new gameplay on the maps, and build the next generation of maps. World of Tanks is powered by Big World and Encore, our own custom game engine. World of Tanks is powered by WWISE. Since 2018, we have been using this audio engine to implement our ideas in the game. Those are our main tools when working on the sound for the game. What is random event scenario from a development perspective? In the game engine, we have a parent scenario prefab that includes child prefabs for different states. In scenario, we have 3 states. Normal, it's the part of the scenario that doesn't affect gameplay, like a flying airplane, wall building, or air battle. Transition, this is the actual transition from the wall state to the destroyed state. And destroyed, the state in which game objects remain until the end of the battle. During development, we use a sequence editor where we can control game objects, effects, and sounds. Each state, 1-1, it's working, good. Each state for the scenario contains a sequence editor. At this level, we can create game objects, attach an audio event to the game objects, and manage the start and stop time of the audio event. Developing the new generation maps feature was a challenge for us. Not only artistic part, but also solve many technical problems. We need to score different types of explosions, wood debris, stones, metal debris, and more. Custom score for each event is not rational. The content would take up a lot of memory, and it would also negatively impact performance because random events happen on the server. And we need to synchronize all the audio and visual parts. We use our game engines component for synchronization. We, together with developers, improved the audio components in the game engine. Game object follower component gives the opportunity to attach audio source to game object. Even if parent game object no longer exists, the audio event will pay to the end. We also upgraded our Sound 3D component. We added fade in and fade out and volume coefficient in the component. So now we can easily and quickly manage those parameters inside game engine. In addition to the default battle, the event can be seen in the desk camera, in the post-battle camera. We process the case if during the event the player lost connection with the server and returned later, then he will see the destroyed state event on the map. For correct audio operation, in all cases, it's necessary to use a codec with a SIG table. At the earlier stages of development, we didn't know what to expect. How many maps would have events? How many events there would be? Or what the event would be? Events so random that we ourselves didn't know. But we knew for sure that they need to sound high quality, realistic, artistically rich, and informative. The player should understand what is happening and where it's happening. It's very important to maintain balance, not make the event stand out from the overall gameplay mix, and make it bright enough so that the event doesn't become annoying. We decided to create an event audio construction kit. It allows us to work with content quickly. I'll change the microphone. Nice. Thanks. We decided to create an event audio construction kit. It allows us to work with content quickly. We made a list of audio events that we need and that might be useful in the future. While creating content, we used various audio libraries and our own recordings made by the audio team over several years. The audio constructor includes many elements, each containing different content depending on the distance. It's close, medium, and far. It's also categorized by size, small, medium, and large. Today, we will consider the constructor using two maps and two scenarios as an example. This is the Himmelsdorf map with the scenario of Zeppelin crash, and Pilsen map with destruction of the roof. Here, we will take a pause and talk about UI and UX part. We notify the player that an event will happen on the minimap. There is also a red marker, which is voiced by 3D sound with a narrow attenuation angle. So players far away can localize the event and quickly go there, as the gameplay situation there will change now, or they can run away from there. But part of the notifications we made native. It's not a UI sound, it's a natural sound of objects. In video example you heard before, powerful and alarming horn of the Zeppelin just sound along before the main scenario was appear. So, back to the audio constructor on Pilsen map. We have artillery preparation that happens outside the map boundaries. It cannot damage players. It plays a more artistic role here. It's also part of notification system. The source of the artillery isn't very important. What's important is to signal to the player that something serious is about to happen. For explosions, we create separate game objects where we play the events. Many may ask, why do we create separate game objects for sound? In the timeline, we can control many parameters of the game object, but those parameters will also affect all child game objects. That's why we create our own separate game objects. Here, we use small, not very powerful explosions from the constructor. After each explosion, we must add dust and debris. Let's listen to how small explosion sounds at different distances.
Up on the target, send in the exact spot to the battleship.
Let's look in more detail at the constructor in WWISE. One second, please. I'm sorry, I confused a little bit in my presentation. Nice. The main elements of destructible objects are divided into categories. It's explosions, metal, concrete, glass, airplanes, and much more. For example, explosion events includes a random container that contains several blend containers with different content. Explosions sound often, so it's important to have a variety of content. We have to use randomization of parameters such as pitch and volume. The content is divided by distance. Besides the distance parameter, we also use separate attenuation to fine-tune. Let's pay special attention to the planes. We are currently using several models. Let's look at the example of Blenheim. This is a British light bomber designed and built by the Bristol Airplane Company. The audio event also contains different content, depending on the distance. To make the plane's movement sound more natural, we simulate different behavior. We use additional close-up content and we use few custom parameters. Azimuth, it's a horizontal angle between audio emitter and listener. Depending on the value of this parameter, we change the volume and engine filtering. We also use an external Doppler factor RTPC parameter. It comes from the code. Let's see how it works in WWISE and in game engine. Let's take a look on example. For the epic part of the event, we choose an audio event explosion that fits the scale of VFX. Just before the main explosion, it's important to provide players the feeling something big and powerful will happen soon. So we use sweeteners before impacts. It's a good practice to create micro pauses between events. This approach makes scenario sound more dramatic and cinematic. Every audio event have own spot on the timeline. It makes them sound bright and do not interrupt each other. The metal roof falls after the explosion, so it's important to emphasize the screeching metal and add metallic debris. After assembling the audio system in WWISE and rough tuning, we always perform detailed audio polishing in the game. I should note that even when scenario is over, the sound keeps living. For example, in the destroyed state, we add earth stress and some fire. I'm sorry, could you turn on previous slide, 23, please? Mm-hmm. And one more time.
Are you clicking all the time the clicker?
No, it's a magic. It's just magic. So only 2 slides. You can turn off it. So we made an audio kit that used less memory. This helped keep the sound quality high in the game and allowed us to add many different sounds by mixing layers randomly. We achieved better overall game performance and enhanced the stability of the audio system. With the new approach, we have more creative freedom. The development process of the audio system has become faster and more efficient. The tools we made for the game engine gave us more ways to work with sound. This simplified the process of integrating new sound effects and synchronizing them with in-game events. This made it easier to add new sound effects and match them with things happening in the game. And the last one slide, please. Creative and technical solutions allowed us to achieve a great result. We have a flexible tool for score random events. There are more than 40 maps in the game, so there is still a lot of new content for random events ahead. Thanks. And I'm waiting for your questions. And I'm sorry for some technical issues. Yeah. Please.
Thanks for a great talk. I want to ask about how do you manage the memory of those random people?
It's my old microphone. It doesn't work. So if I understand correctly, if I heard correctly, you asked me about optimization of memory in random events, yeah?
When it comes to... Now it works? Great. I'm wondering when it comes to the memory allocation in case of those random events, because do you keep those random events and all the construction elements in a memory constantly, or do you know that it's going to happen on level and just load the sound banks, or do you use other way of loading those assets?
Okay. First thing, we know what it will be happening, what it can be happening on the map, because we have a lot of scenarios for every map, because this feature is long-term development, and we make it now, and we will do it tomorrow, and I think on the next year too. So for now, we have only somewhere 1 scenario, somewhere 2, somewhere 3 scenarios per map. So we know what will happen in there, but it's a audio construction kit, so it doesn't matter what would happen there, because we use construction of audio events, of explosion, of debris, or something else. About memory, we keep in RAM only few sounds. It's like UI sound. If you heard some minimap beep, like red marker, those sounds keep in the RAM, in the memory. Every another sound we keep in PCK. So we pack it and keep it on hard drive.
Okay,
and-
so
and
you
play
basically
from
just
drum.
stream it from
Yeah,
the hard drive.
we stream it from hard drive,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. More questions?
So regarding the stream from the hard drive, when you play like simple sound like of explosion, like the other tank is shooting from the behind, let's say, do you load a whole component, the whole like a whole sound music component, or just a single sound that's inside of it?
Sorry, what do you mean about component?
Because you have the sound manager, yeah?
Yes and no. We just have sound 3D component.
Yeah.
We can add it in a prefab, but we can play only one audio event on this sound 3D component. So we can add only one component, one component for one game object, the same component. So if we talk about audio, about sound 3D component, it would be only one sound 3D component on one game object. So if you need to play 10 explosions in one parental prefab, you need to create 10 game objects and add 10 sound 3D components for each other. It's not one component.
Yeah, but
for every scene.
yeah, but I wanted to ask, how does it relate in terms of the memory usage? Let's say like single sound, 10 sounds, and like 50 sounds. Let's say at the same time.
At the same time, okay, because it's a construction kit, so we have a lot of random layers. For example, for explosion, it's close, medium, and far, and we have blend container what mixed random containers with the different layers. So we keep, for example, like 3 megabytes for small explosions. And that's all. Only 3 megabytes for all small explosions.
And those large and close by have much more memory, right?
No, about memory, it will be the same. I told about 3 megabytes just for example. Just for example. So we have the stability of memory value for all content. For example, for explosion, what I'm told about. Maybe I misunderstand your question.
Okay, thank you.
And maybe you have no answer from me. Let's try to rephrase it.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
You understand? Okay, thank you too. Any more? So looks like that's all. Thanks one more time. Have a nice day. See you.